What's this, buddy? What's this? What's this? Come here then. Wow. Well, it's been quite a while since I made the last video, and a hell of a lot has happened since then. The most important thing to happen though was when I was in Amur, home to the third longest wall in the world. I came across a group of elephants. I think there was 8 Indian elephants, and I was incredibly lucky to see them because I was just leaving the town, and if I was a couple of minutes earlier or a couple of minutes later leaving, I would have completely missed them. I think it was just as I was getting to a city called Lucknow that I started to notice that my rear shock absorber started to leak hydraulic fluid. So I tried to get it fixed there, but couldn't find anyone that was willing to do the work, and I couldn't find a suitable replacement for the shock absorber either. So I continued carefully avoiding as many potholes as possible, and made my way west to Agra, which is the home of the Taj Mahal. And then just as I was entering Agra, I was stopping at a toll booth, and the guy in the booth started frantically pointing down towards the bike, and then when I looked down to my side I saw a load of steam coming up, and the hydraulic fluid had started leaking a lot quicker out of the shock absorber and was dripping onto the hot exhaust. So then even more carefully I made my way to Amur and then Jaipur, where I waited for a replacement shock absorber to arrive from the UK. And then the next bit amazed me really, just the sheer power of the internet and the kindness of strangers. I'd put a Facebook post out and received a message from a guy that was living in the UK and had family out in India, and he sent me a message offering to bring a shock absorber out in his luggage, which otherwise would have been sat in Indian customs for up to 2 months or potentially even more if it had been posted out here. He refused all payment that I offered to him, and I was just absolutely blown away and incredibly lucky by how fortunate I was to find someone that was willing to bring it out here for me. So then the day after that I got my new shock absorber in my hands, I went to KTM South Delhi. I went to their showroom, and turns out that the service centre was in a completely different place. So then I went looking for the service centre, and embarrassingly I couldn't find it. I gave up before my bike, my phone and me as well just overheated, riding through a labyrinth of alleyways in Delhi. Pretty embarrassing. I'm probably supposed to be good at this by now. So I think it was the next day I then went to KTM in East Delhi, and they were absolutely terrible. Their quote-unquote head mechanic was unable to even take my seat off properly. When he found that it was sort of meeting a bit of resistance, he just started ripping at it and almost broke one of the plastic bits on there. And then it became pretty obvious pretty quickly that they weren't up to this relatively simple job. So I watched as they put the bike back together incorrectly, forgetting to put screws back in. So I was watching them like a hawk, and I left as soon as possible. I got back to my hotel room and started watching some YouTube videos to see how difficult it would be, and if I had the tools myself to swap over the shock absorber. Now, as I was watching these YouTube videos, I got sent a photo of my bike in KTM East Delhi from a different stranger that I'd given my WhatsApp number to maybe a week beforehand. He was following the useless KTM mechanic on Instagram, and had seen the photo, and then when I told him what had happened, he phoned a different garage for me to some people that he knew, and they agreed to do the work. And they knew that it was a bigger bike, it wasn't sort of the 390 Adventure that they'd be working on. So I headed over there the next day, and less than an hour later, two guys from Craft Motorcycle in West Delhi had the shock swapped over, and I was back on the road again. And then the next thing to happen, as if I hadn't already been delayed enough, the day after I had the shock absorber fitted, I got a notification from BBC News that India had shut the only border crossing with Pakistan that had the facility to process foreign vehicles with a carnet. So I had 2 days with very little sleep, calling and messaging everyone that I could to try to find out if the border was closed to foreign tourists leaving India, because the language that the government officials had used had kind of left it open to interpretation. And then on the second day I was messaging another motorcycle traveller that was in Pakistan. He was at the border the day that it closed, and he was allowed initially to exit Pakistan, and then when he got to the Indian side of the border officials were deciding what to do with foreign tourists. They later decided not to allow anyone through, closing my only exit out of India to the west, and he had to turn around and head back into Pakistan. Now, customs in India is known to be a time-consuming, bureaucratic pain in the ass, so now I'm making my way back to Nepal, where I'll either ride through China or fly somewhere west of India. To save time, I've been using the expressways that cut across northern India, linking the bigger cities. However, this has been absolutely mind-numbingly boring. And then fast forward to today, where I'm now heading back to the border with Nepal. Different border that I crossed last time, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting close given the amount of traffic and trucks parked on the side of the road. Okay, so after riding around for about 20 minutes and passing the customs office probably about 4 times, I finally found it hidden behind a line of trucks which are now all driving off. Perfect. After I got here, stood in the queue only to be told that the customs office is not, this is the customs office, but it's not the customs office for the carnet. So that's further down the road, closer to the first checkpoint. which is where I'm going now. Wish me luck. Okay, good news. I am completely stamped out of India and I'm officially back in Nepal. The customs on the Indian side for Kane was pretty easy. It took a little while because the customs officer wanted to have a proper old gossip about everywhere that I've been, but he's a pretty friendly guy. Gave me some masala tea, which is exactly what you would think it'd be. Tea that tastes like masala. They really can't help themselves, those Indians. It's everything, absolutely everything has to be spicy over there. I did love the food in India, but it definitely hasn't loved me back. I won't go into details. And then the Nepalese side, it's pretty painless too. So now all left to do is get my grubby little hand on some local currency and a SIM card. Okay, so I've got myself some local currency and a SIM card, and now I'm making my way to Lumbini, and hopefully I'll arrive there just before it gets dark. I reckon I've got enough time. Now, I have absolutely no idea what it is, but now that I'm here back in Nepal, I kind of feel more relaxed and, I don't know, happier isn't the right word, but it's completely different to how I felt when I was back in India. Actually, that is a good little thoughtful, overly self-analytical, soppy bollocks moment, and a good way to end the video. Riding off into the sunset. Ciao.
Don't follow any laws, I got many flaws and so many great opportunities, many doors. That's what happens when they put you on so many tours. But there's no sleep, blunt, scared, lit, Henny pause. Femi calls, though he wants to have a heavy talk. I leave the country without giving it any thought. Why the hell I'm on this couch, spilling my heart out. More high blood pressure, you've already